Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FMLFPL Milan.
This Walsh.
Game week 1 in the books.
We made it, baby. We're done.
We're done.
We're all done. We got there. How you doing?
I'm good, dude. I'm still juiced up. Nothing has faded yet from my preseason enthusiasm. What about you?
That's a good sign. Juiced up, roided up.
Yeah.
No, I mean, watching games again was just so fun to be able to put a couple games on at the same time on Saturday and just like in the Discord, seeing all the things and having actual images playing through in my brain now when I look at the players and think about things is a lot better than what it was like on Friday or Thursday rather.
Yeah, exactly. And seeing people panic and getting all the questions and the stats and highlights and just like, it's open. Yeah, it's begun.
It's so fucking hilarious. So much of this shit about FPL, just the world of FPL.
Hardly Boys.
Ridiculous.
Shout out to Hardly Boys immediately being like, I think I'm minus 12ing in our Discord. I was just like, I just replied, dude.
Hey, you're only as good as your last game. My entire identity and self-worth is 100% one-to-one correlation with my FPL week.
Oh my God. So how'd you do? Yeah, I mean, that's one take.
It's hilarious.
One way to look at it.
I mean, I didn't do anything really dumb, so I'm happy from that standpoint. Huge. I got 68 points, one off from the ideal score total. But yeah, good. I mean, I did end up doing the 8 million goalkeeper, so that, okay. But got Trips and Reece and Cancelo and Captain Mo and Haaland. I mean, everyone else blank. It's kind of everyone sort of that did Captain Mo with Haaland was sort of plus or minus like a 6-point range. Yeah. In the like around where me and you were, like high 60s, low 70s. Unless if you really had like Kulusevski, you had one or two really correct calls. But yeah. 68. I think my team's good. I like some of my players. Obviously, already concerned about some of my players.
Yeah,
but
same.
That's where I'm at. How about you? How'd you find it?
Yeah, like you said, like we and the template are all in and around the same scores, I think, unless, like you said, like you had Kulu or you went for Kane over Haaland, which we obviously talked about, or like Zinchenko or something like that. Those were the only other guys that like people actually owned who got like double digits and stuff. But I'm on 73. Just a really good start. I think if you start sub 1 million, like you're doing great. You're right on track for like a good season.
What if you start over 1 million?
Still good though. It's still good. Oh. Yeah. You're still good.
Thanks.
Don't worry about it.
Thanks, Ryan.
But yeah, mine's just a little better, I pay the premium for Eddie, and that's basically the difference between our points. You got Ward 1 point, and I got an Ederson 7-pointer. I don't know how the fuck he got a bonus point, but that's
I don't know. I think the 3 million I invested in over Bailey to get Mount 3 instead of 2 is worth it.
Not bad.
All right, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. But yeah, I mean, the live FPL is kind of interesting at this time because, we don't have like a top 10K to compare ourselves to, but they do have like an elite managers who just are like their best managers of the past. And their average was 67.1. So we're both above that, That's good. We're off to a good start, I think. And huge thanks to you because I was looking at Kane over Haaland up until, what was that, our Wednesday pod, and you just told me it's dumb, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds dumb. If you say it's dumb, it's probably pretty dumb. First league updates of the year.
Oh my God, we're back.
Yeah, we're actually back now.
Hey.
So the Patreon Prize League, Mug League. If you're not in it yet, all Patreon subscribers should be in it. I posted multiple times on Patreon. You can just fill out a little form, get the league code, join the league. But first place is...
Should we say that like 6 times?
It's annoying that no one actually listens to a word that I say.
Do you think everyone fast forward? No one's listening to this right now.
Oh, so many people DM me just, hey mate, can I get the league code? And I'm like, let me get the link and just fill this thing out. takes 2 seconds and then you get the fucking code. But yeah, Noel in first place. Stacey McDonald, aka Noel in first place. Franco Dunno, aka FC Fossey, and Alex Walshy, the cuz, tied with a few others in third. So, off to a flyer. Good job by you guys. And then the public league, David Kerr, aka Real Madras, with a 99 pointer. So he triple capped Mo. That's how you do that. My brother. So brother's team is done. That brother is taking the season off. Not interested. Other brother, who's never played FPL in his life, kind of interested. Made a team. And one of the first things he asked me is, the top guy got 36 points for Mo, and I only got 24 points for Mo. What? Why? And I
please halt. Please halt.
They're the fucking thing of it.
So he's basically. I mean, that's where he's years away from asking you for the league code form number.
Oh my god.
No
chance. No chance.
This is the question and the tiering of questions. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, he is nowhere near. He's right. Like, I mean, he's at the point where he's like, okay, so do I have to make a move? And I was like, no, you could just chill. Your team's good. And he's like, so should I captain Zinchenko? He got 12 points. And I'm like, no, he's not going to get 12 points every week. It's not really work like that.
God. Yeah,
all right. That's where we are.
Well, it keeps you humble. Keeps you humble.
Keeps me humble. It's nice to feel very smart sometimes. Let's move on. Where would you like to begin?
The world's oyster is too much oystering right now. I have no idea.
We got so many Man City questions.
All right,
so I think it's a decent place to start. I mean, everyone who asked on Sunday about Kane to Haaland, I was like, yeah, do it immediately. I would just do it immediately, no question. But then there's people like a Dundee Monkey. He said, I promise not to take hits this season for knee jerks. Tell me why I should stay strong and not moving Kane to Haaland. So he hasn't made the move yet. And Daniel Ice said, I don't have Haaland, and due to the price change, I can't go Kane to Haaland. Is it a good idea to take a hit to get to Haaland, or should I just stick with Kane for another week? Hope he wakes up against Chelsea. So, man, you fucked up. You really fucked up. Like, you made your bed, you're lying in it, but you also took a shit in it while you're lying in it because you just needed to make that move on Sunday. I said it so many times. Listen to the pod. Well, what do you do, man?
Well, I mean, there's no point addressing those who already moved, but if you are still debating the question, I think if you have a second, like in air quotes, like issue where you're like, this is not a downgrade to get the 0.5 freed up, I think that's fine. I think taking the hit's fine. Just like you said, you fucked up, correct the mistake. Haaland's going to be getting a lot of points all year, and Kane's still playing in midfield, as we have known for some time now. And you just do it.
Yeah.
But if it's like, I have nowhere to go, like I don't want to downgrade anywhere because that means it would be like my 5-5 mid to Bailey or something, then okay, like maybe wait. Then it's more questionable. But that's, I mean, sort of as a generalization.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to answer the very team-specific case by case. But, Kane still has home Wolves at Forest, in 3 and 4. It's not like he's a bad pick. Like, he's still going to get points. Son should have laid it off to him. He should have had a tap in, and everyone would be singing a different song if that were the case. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think Haaland is just like so clearly, like that move is just like the most obvious move of life on Sunday after the City game. Like, he should have made the move.
Yep.
Okay. Some other questions on just, Jack and the other City attackers and stuff. Mike Mack said Jack is looking flat. Who, if anyone, should Jack owners trade him out for, or should we hold? Bolter asking about Mahrez. Adman said, who's the best third City spot for us with Haaland and Cancelo? Jeff, how hard do we prioritize a third City? So same kind of question. Janner, who do you prefer out of Jack and Foden? And Bryce said, what are your thoughts on Alvarez as a third City option? Cheaper than all the mids. Probably get similar minutes over the season, or is there already too much competition for forward spots for FPL?
I feel like Bry sits there and is like, what is the most ridiculous fucked up shit I can come up with?
Yes.
And then he puts it in the thing.
Yeah.
I also wanted to revisit that other thing from that other guy before we go into this. Promising yourself before game week 1 starts to not take hits is not a good idea. I would fully advise against doing that because you're just limiting your ability to enjoy your life. It's an insane thing to do, and you're going to just constantly have self-loathing and disappointment. So just stop that.
And all the best managers
it's
take
part of the
some
game.
hits.
Yeah, it's part of the
game. Yeah, no one
just do
like,
good ones.
Finishes top 10K and with no hits. Also,
or like they took 2 hits all year. That doesn't happen.
It just doesn't happen. So
just take good hits. That's just make sure you don't take any bad ones.
Yeah,
Easy.
Which
that's easy.
It's harder to define, but yeah.
But so what did you see in the City non-Haaland performance? Jack, etc.
I mean, I thought Jack was really bad. I mean, it seemed like I was in sort of the minority there. Like I tweeted that, and a lot of people were like, "What?" Like I thought he was good. I thought he grew into the game. I just thought every time he got
the Jack owners were exposing themselves.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, basically. I thought basically every time he got the ball, it just slowed down the attack, borderline killed the attack. He was just putting in sort of lazy crosses that were mostly blocked. I just didn't think he had a good game. I mean, I still rate the player and stuff, and it's obviously a good sign that he played 90. He wasn't one of the ones ripped off, and so maybe that means Pep was happy with him. Maybe not. I don't really know, but I was definitely not encouraged at all by the Jack performance.
Okay, so is that a hold? Don't sell, don't buy. I mean, they play Bournemouth next.
Yeah, if he starts Bournemouth, we're expecting City to score 4 or 5 probably. So if he starts and plays 90 again, maybe he runs into a return. But I still just it just to me sort of picked up where we left off last season. I was just he just doesn't really look that close to fantasy points. He's not Villa Jack. He's not, everything's not running through him. He's not the center of everything at all. Haaland maybe even made it less so. So yeah, of course, one of the crosses comes off. It could be an assist, but I don't know. I didn't feel good about that at all. I think I wouldn't really have much hesitation getting rid, aside from the fact that it was just one fucking game. So I think in general, being patient is probably better. I don't think there's a sub 7 mid that is equivalent to a Haaland where I'm get him immediately. I would have made that move on Sunday. I don't think that player exists. So being patient is probably right, but yeah, I'm not high on it right now.
Okay, I mean it's also home Bournemouth is a hard one to get rid. He could easily not start that game though. So
yeah, he might just not start. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean Martinelli, I guess
Yeah, Martinelli was the name that jumped out to me. It's just, Leicester's not, a team that just got, promoted, unlike the Cherries. So it's just those aren't, you're going from that good fixture to a bad one and game week 1. I mean, I probably would still just say, you still probably just save that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You probably save. But one of the things I was most surprised about with Martinelli, wasn't that he got a goal, but in that elite manager thing that I was saying live FPL is he's 80% owned by those teams.
Wow.
That's basically the equivalent of the top 10K-ish is 80%. I did not think he was that kind of template guy. I thought he was more because overall his ownership's not that high, and usually we see, those are kind of 1-to-1 in game week 1, and so that was really surprising to me, and I felt bad not owning him, worse than not owning him.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, that was my last thing I did was moving Martinelli to Mount, getting that money from goalkeeper and shit. And yeah, I mean, I think with Martinelli, it is just the positioning, right? I mean, he missed the good chance that he had.
Yeah.
If he keeps doing that and they keep playing that way, he's just going to get points.
Yep.
And, that's just the sheer fact of the matter. And, at his price is just severely undercosted.
Yeah, I mean, Jack to Martinelli, you don't like that?
I think saving is better. I think getting an extra weeks of information is just going to be more impactful than doing that because, I mean, if the fixture was a lot if the fixture was a lot better for Arsenal and they had a really good fixture, I would be more inclined to recommending that. But I do really like, being able to save game week 1 because
me too.
You might want to go up. You don't know
it's
what
ideal.
The other problem is.
It's ideal to save, but I think home Leicester's fine. They were definitely not tight in that second half. Brentford kind of destroyed them.
They were for half the game.
Yeah, they were for half. And then Martinelli has at Bournemouth, home Fulham. So it's in the case of Jack, maybe you could argue for more information. But I feel with someone like Martinelli, who is just an easy downgrade, I don't really need more information. I want him for the next 3 game weeks. And Jack, it's Yeah, the trap of like more information is, what happens if he, he starts and looks kind of bad again, maybe gets 1 assist or something. Is that like, okay, I'm keeping him, like he's a great pick, like I don't know. The ceiling seems low for Jack to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. No, I mean, it is still in that kind of peripheral figure in the way the team sets up. And yeah, at fantasy points, it is really limited to just his crosses coming off or his cutbacks coming off. But I see what you're saying for sure. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely concerned, especially because minutes are still a concern, with him. What do you see? Maybe I was thinking about Foden. I mean, we'll talk about Mount. Like I've been looking around at the midfielders a lot, and granted, right, at West Ham is a very unique game, and they're not going to have another one like that for some time now. But what do you see from Foden? Are you liking Foden, or still similar to sort of where we were before?
I mean, he offers a lot more, in my opinion, than Jack. He's not just a crosser. He's not just a presser. Like, he can cut inside. He can shoot. He had a close shot. Yeah. So I feel like in terms of minutes, his versatility will lend itself to more minutes probably. And in terms of like avenues of points, I think he has more. So I'm higher on Foden than Jack. But, I also just, would be very unsurprised if none of these guys end up being great picks for the season, which is kind of the norm, That's like standard for City. So,
but that's the thing with it is, we don't need for the season. We need these little windows. So we just have to kind of try and identify that, but which then just beckons, right? The third City player being a defender. They still have Diaz.
That's what I like.
Walker, Ederson. Yeah, because you're not worried as much about the minutes there, right? So
Walker starts, gets the clean, like we said, and Ake starts, does the thing. It's just. It's so secure. It's such a consistent avenue of points, that it's hard for someone who's not nailed like Foden and Jack to really account for that.
Yeah.
And then the one other question was just John. He said, is Cancelo still essential? Haaland looks to have changed the shape a bit and negatively impacted him.
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of talk about this and, him playing in DM and playing more narrow and things like that. Listen, one game at West Ham.
Yeah,
they were doing some tactical stuff against the 3 at the back. Let's see what happens, when they're playing Bournemouth at home.
Yeah.
And they only have to have 2, or 3 defenders at the midway, right? So
I'm with you.
That's kind of where I'm at with that.
I'm totally with you. Yeah, I think it was a weird game. And that's the thing with Game Week 1, right? There's some stuff that we should read into and most of the stuff that we shouldn't read into, and it's really hard to like parse that out. But yeah, I mean, what more do you need from a player who gets an easy clean, a yellow card, and still gets 2 bones? I mean, that is just screaming like auto pick essential. Like, I don't really care what his positioning was.
Yeah.
So that's it for that.
Same, and that's sort of similar with Reece, right? I mean, he just got a yellow card and 2 bones, and didn't do anything well, but just shits bonus out. So it's like, it's a good pick in the game.
It's really crazy how fucking consistent and good at bones he is. He just took I think he took 13 corners.
Zero good ones.
Zero good ones. They're all half were blocked, half were short. It was just a nightmare. And he just yellow card, 2 bones, not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should jump to them. Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, you're on Mount, etc. So Richard said, after the Everton game, how do you feel about Chelsea attack? We got a bunch of people, Hardly Boys, D-Bomb, Bjorn again, Glenn, asking about Mount and Reece. If Mount is indeed playing the front 3, does that make him far more likely to be rotated with the other attacking options, or are we overreacting from Gabron Lames? Sonat is looking already. Kulu in for Mount in Game Week 2. Should we be more reactive when we're likely to use the wild card earlier this season? And then Jono said, do you think it's okay to bench James for this week only in order to play one of your bench attackers, in my case Bailey, or is that just overthinking? So what do you see from Chelsea?
I've been saying to you since the game ended.
Yeah,
I guess the most difficult game to kind of assess and analyze because it was so fucking weird. I mean,
and
the ball. Someone made the comment. I apologize. I forgot who it was, but it was easily my favorite comment of the weekend. It felt like we were watching Burnley play Burnley, like is how the game was. I mean, Everton were parked to fuckland, and Chelsea wanted to counter, couldn't counter. There was no space really, and they just were hoofing bullshit into the box, all game. And the Mount Raz Kai like triumvirate in attack, in my mind, seems like it should work based on the player's skills and attributes, and the movement should be a complete disaster for any defense to have to deal with. But it definitely did not play out that way against Everton. I felt like Raz was kind of coming short a little bit too much, and Mount was finding himself kind of out of the game. I don't know. He switched sides a couple of times. I mean, he couldn't find the game, really. I think he had one good action or two, maybe, if I can remember.
Yeah, Pickford made one good save on his shot from outside of the box.
But it wasn't really good, It
wasn't a high-value shot at all.
I mean, he wasn't really no one was really getting into the box. I mean, Chelsea didn't create a chance, really, the whole game almost, it seemed like to me. But it's obviously a concern, I mean, the other thing, too, I was like, Conte was the closest to FPL points. And Chelsea, when that happens, I feel like sometimes. And when those games are happening, I just hit smacking myself in the face. Like, what is this? Like, they have all these players, and this is the guy that they're trying to free up, or this is the guy that's in all this space as the extra whatever. Like, just fuck off. Like, you're not good in this area of the pitch
really
ever.
Weird.
And that was what was happening. It seemed like, forsake everyone else, let's get Conte free. It's like, and it was just so frustrating. And I'm sure there's a very good footballing reason as to why he was free. I think
Everton were just so fucking deep. I mean, they really were Burnleying it up that the forwards are just basically in the box, pressed up against them, and all the spaces in midfield. Everton has no midfield, so Conte was just taking it, as he should. But it would have been nice to see Kai come get the ball, Mount come get the ball.
Trying instead of just stand still and let Conte try and beat three guys.
Exactly.
You can't do
that. I'm a bit higher on that performance. I thought Raz is really lively, and without a couple clutch blocks, I think they probably do make that 3-0 instead of just a pen. Mikalenko had that block.
He had that one really good block. Raz was definitely the best.
There were just a couple moments where it was one little nick off the dribble or one slightly heavy touch where it would have been a monster chance or something like that. But no, it definitely wasn't great. And I feel like the data point we got from Everton was sort of just oh shit, this is how they're going to play this season. This is, they're buying all the Burnley players to do the Burnley thing. That's, maybe what we thought was a great fixture is actually it's still good, but not great. Because if they just don't ever push anyone up behind, across the halfway line, except for two guys, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, and they got Cody in today, which is a really good addition for them. They're going to be playing 3 at the back all year, and he doesn't really get hurt, which is clearly the biggest issue with I mean, it looks like Godfrey's going to be out for a really long time, and Mina just played a game, so he's injured, obviously. I think we'll have to. The thing with Everton, we'll have to see more. I think is what they do against the mid-table to bottom half teams, because they could open up and be a good fixture for those teams in attack, but a bad one for the top 6. So that's the thing that we need to kind of figure out quickly. Yes. Because, previously we're oh yeah, Everton, LOL, Everton, Frank. DCL's hurt, they can't function. Oh yeah, well, they're just going to put 11 men in and around their own box. So good luck with that, which is, what we might be seeing very...
I mean, Gordon and Gray were the only 2 of their 11 whose average position was across the halfway line. Yeah. And it wasn't that far. It was just just a ridiculous thing for them. But Raz definitely was big time on my radar, for...
I felt did you feel I felt he wasn't making forward runs though. To receive the ball. I felt he was dribbling and but coming deep, but there was no one was trying to break a line with him running.
Maybe,
and was that maybe because there was
just
no space?
No space. Yeah, maybe that's what that was. But I'm not looking at him for this week anyway, so we'll get another data point. But 3, 4, 5, they're at Leeds, home Leicester, at Southampton. So that that is serious for these Chelsea guys. So that's more what I'm thinking there. But
Mount, as a Mount owner,
yeah,
I'm
worried.
Do? I'm worried. I'm just completely worried. I think because he just didn't look good. He didn't play well. He got subbed early.
He just really wasn't
Mount's
involved.
Yeah, he wasn't involved at all. And I was like, okay, Mount, like he's 90 minutes every game. Like he's going to be in and around all of their good actions. And he was just not that at all. And they have Spurs right now. So it's hard to hold him. It is hard to hold him because for me, right, I'm not going to hold him and then drop him before he plays Leeds. So, I'm sort of need to make that decision now of like, what am I doing here? Am I committing to the next couple and then I'm going to look elsewhere in my team? Or am I saying this is a problem? I want to dodge this bad fixture and he's really bad in good games for FPL points. He blanks in those games. He's more flat track bully. So, I'm still not sure.
So what's your gut right now? I'm just curious. Like you obviously aren't going to make this call till like Friday, but what do you think you're going to do right now? Like who would you swap to right now?
Martinelli is probably the loudest thing just because, it would also free up 2 million, and that looks like a mistake just watching the game against us, even though, he did get a goal, but he missed that really good chance. He didn't have like too many really good like close to FPL points except for the one champ. The goal was a non-event to me. It was just a set piece, broken bullshit
thing. Yeah.
But he did have the best chance of the game probably.
Yeah.
In that, next for Arsenal. But he was just playing out of position the whole game. He was just playing forward the whole game.
That fucking chance was Jesus literally he megged two people, sealed someone out, dribbled, and it was insane. And then it was just wide open right there.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I think I'm with you. To me, like one of the takeaways of the week is just like Martinelli should be in my team. At that price with the upcoming fixtures, he's definitely screaming the loudest to me as well. Yeah. But that's a tough call that you're gonna have to make.
Yeah, because it's also like I have Trips, who I'm not sure about in this next upcoming run of fixtures. I have Neto, who I think he played really well, but they're not good, and is that a problem? I'm not sure. So those are the other things. Right? It's like it's not just do this move. It's like what are the trickle down effects? Like I'm not sure. Yeah.
But getting 2 million in the bank will always help.
Yes,
with
absolutely.
Whatever your
with
next move is going to be. Yeah. So that's definitely worth thinking about for Chelsea.
Do you think Mount should be a hold for right now?
I think so.
I think he's still from one game.
Yeah, I think he's just very, very clearly nailed into their front three. I don't think that's a concern at all.
Yeah.
And I think that we might just see a very different game home Spurs, where there's space to counter, there's space to run in behind, there's space to cut in for Mount and stuff like that. And all of a sudden we might just be looking, because I think that's an elite front three. And I just think that there's a very decent chance that this next run of games we're looking at a very different team from after game week 1, and where we're just holy shit, they're so hard to deal with. No one can do anything. So yeah, I think I would personally hold, and I'm also just a fan of being patient unless there's something like a Haaland situation where I'm it's just really dumb and bad to not have him right now.
Yeah.
Even though I love the Martinelli pick, it's not I'm not people aren't going to captain him, and it's not an amazing fixture, and that's not the same level.
Okay.
That's kind of where I am.
Yeah, no, that makes more sense. I think if these shoes were reversed and you had Mount and I didn't, I would be probably saying very similar things to you.
Yeah. Should we talk about Liverpool?
Sure.
They did a bad job.
Yep, they tied the game.
Yep. They love to say on Anfield Wrap, Liverpool lost Fulham defeated Liverpool 2-2. Darwin needs to be discussed.
So let's discuss with me.
Hemdog said, I'm curious and overdrive for Darwin. Is it too early to rip up the manual shift to 4-3-3? Brett said, does Darwin enter the mix as a viable third option? Serge, is it just a matter of time before Klopp realizes that Firmino's washed, starts Nunez ahead of him? How long will his role be limited to chaos, impact sub? And then Bear said, why shouldn't we drop Jesus for Darwin? Speaking of overreaction, without a doubt, moving to the second best team in the league and still capable of goals from the bench. Where are you at on Darwin? We were both just very out on him before game week 1.
Well, I mean, if I knew in advance that he was going to play 39 minutes and be number one in overall ICT index ranking, I would have had a different, take.
He's singing
probably.
A different tune.
But he obviously already came on, changed the game. Looked immense. They certainly have a lot of creative players to find him, to find a focal point in the middle that we haven't seen. We really haven't seen Trent and Robbo play on a team with a striker, a real out and out target striker, really ever, with one that is Benteke. I don't even know who we could look. I don't know what years overlap, but not like a good one. Darwin's good, but and Jota's out right now. So if there is a time to hunt on it, then it would be now. It's still just, you're spending more money eschewing other really good assets in Diaz in midfield, Robbo, any defender, to get Darwin, who you're literally captaining 0% of the time the rest of the season, or however long you own him. So I don't love that, right? I don't love that, and what you have to do to the rest of your team to get him, and who you have to compromise. I don't believe that making your third Liverpool player Darwin and then removing Jesus from your team is like good. That's really, to me, a bigger piece of the issue is, your team is going to look just not that good, I think, when you put him in. And you look at what you have to sacrifice.
Him is, I think, the clear problem, right?
Yeah.
Like, even me, I have $1 million in the bank. Sure, there's teams out there that don't have triple Liverpool, and maybe they have like an easy route in. But, even for me, with $1 million in the bank, it'd be like I'd have to take a hit, double move Diaz out to get Darwin in and some other midfielder, whatever it is. That said, what he's done in 2 40-minute sub appearances, at first against City and then against Fulham, is just insane. The numbers he's putting up are really, really crazy. Beyond what we've seen from a Liverpool attacker outside of Mo, basically ever. Fucking goal, assist, 1 XG, 0.7 XA, 4 shots, 8 touches in the box in fucking 40 minutes, whatever. So, I think the explosiveness is obviously there, and I totally expect him to start, for the next run, probably. I do think Bob is showing his age a bit, and especially after what Darwin's doing, I think it's obviously time. But, Home Palace is still a bad fixture, so I'm not ripping it up to get an attacker against Palace, in my opinion. But, maybe I think it's we always say this, but it's worth reminding, I don't think you get much of an advantage by being the first one on the player ever in FPL. Even if he fucking braces Home Palace, it's cool, you got, fucking 10 points or whatever, 11 points. That's good to have that over the field, but it's not like you just won FPL. You're just oh my God, I got Darwin at 9 and got 11 more points than everyone else. And then everyone gets to get him in game week 3, with no cost against, a terrible Man United. And you just don't have a lot of advantage, but you take all the risk. So yeah, I probably wouldn't rip it up to get him right now, and I wouldn't pull out a good pick like Jesus to get him right now. But a lot of people are probably rolling their transfer this week, and I think he's very, very much on the radar. If he starts and does what he's been doing, it's gonna be soon. Rip it up, and everyone should get him, I think.
Yeah, that's possible. I'm a lot more just kind of tepid on this situation, I think, because I feel like we just need to see some more reps, because it's very different when you're coming on to play 40 minutes against Fulham, who are playing in a way that, kind of is to Darwin's strengths and are shattered, right? Playing the last 30 to 40 minutes of a game against Liverpool is not the same as playing, the full game, if he's starting the game, right? So I want to see a little bit more, because these are good picks that we're removing. I guess come bringing up the Diaz thing, and knowing that you could more easily switch your formation and do Diaz to Darwin. We don't necessarily know that Diaz is a really good FPL pick, right?
For sure.
So that could be the case, if that's your situation. After a few more games pass, that okay, Darwin's starting, Jota's still nowhere near the team. and that's just a strict upgrade, and, save and do it at the right opportune time, or save, double hit, whatever, could be a good thing. But I still think it's a couple games away, and it's just smarter and better to, let this shit unfold a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I'm not gonna rip it up and take a hit in game week 2 for him. I'm just not there. I don't think it's that situation. He's still not nailed, and we haven't even seen him start one game. But I'm just a lot like further in my progression than you are in terms of like, if he starts and keeps doing this and gets another goal, then I'm like, yeah, I'm there. Because I do think like, and this is all speculation, but I do think it will sort of relegate Diaz to what I was saying in preseason, like more that Firmino role, like more the linker and creator, and Darwin and Mo being the goal scorers. Because usually that's how Liverpool go. It's like one linker, creator, progressor guy. In the past, that would have been Firmino, and 2 goal scorers, just like out and out goal scorers like Mane and Mo. And it's just like, it's sort of the same thing as that. They're just in different positions, it's wide left instead of in the middle for the creator. So that's what I'm thinking. But it's just one to watch. And then Diaz, Robbo. Dad still said Diaz versus Robbo. And then Franken says that I'm a huge fan of Diaz. He strikes me as a player who's great in real life, but his finishing isn't elite. When Nunez is on, Diaz seemed to drop deeper and more wide. Is Diaz to Foden premature right now? I mean, what do you see from Diaz just on that note?
I mean, he was like the best player on Liverpool probably in that first half. I mean, he hit the bar.
In the first half, for sure.
Yeah, in the first half. I mean, he definitely faded in the second half. He got subbed. I mean, him and Darwin played like 10 minutes together, so I'm not taking anything from that. I mean, again, the game was very weird.
It was so
I
weird,
think
man.
it was just Fulham were playing like with high intensity, pressing high, not like playing with a pretty high line. Like they just made things uncomfortable, and Liverpool were just like to a man
fucking awful.
Bad. So I don't really love the idea of overreacting to this very bizarre game in this case when we have such a bigger bank of information in watching this Liverpool team at the end of last season. And I believe that they will revert more to that type. And, I think that Diaz is a really good player, and like you said, if we have some more body of work where we can say, no, he is dropping deeper, and yes, he's stitching things together, and he's not as close to FPL points as Darwin, then the question is, do I want Robbo or Darwin? Maybe that's where we go. Yeah. But right now, he's still great. He hit the bar. I mean, he could have had double return, and yes, there is the clinicality issue that we've cited with him in the past, and it was one game. So
I don't know where the finishing
good
stuff is even coming from after that game too, right? It's like the offside goal was an amazing finish. The other shot hit the post, and then the other one was a literal tap in that Robbo just hit really hard for some reason, and was like, that should, there was no finishing weird stuff in that game at all.
Yeah, he just had 0 goals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I mean, long and short is I do think it will turn into more of like a Darwin versus Robbo as opposed to, Diaz versus Robbo, because I just think, Diaz is just very wide and stuff and more wingery and more creative, and Darwin is just like, holy shit. Like everything he's doing is like screams FPL God, Any concerns about the defense? I mean, and they ended last season like really fatigued and, just really like kind of like trudging along, but they concede early, and basically like every game at the end of last season they concede early. In this game, like VVD concedes a bad pen. Like I was just like, man, like what the fuck is going on? They need to clean it up. Or do you expect that they're just gonna like, bounce back and be a machine like usual?
Sort of a little bit of everything, I think. Again, right, we can cite in this game really bad individual performances. Matip was diabolical. He was one of the worst players on the pitch. Van Dijk was really bad. And, Trent it's just at this point, right, the way that they play and the positions in the final third that Trent and Robbo take up is just, that invites these actions, to happen. And, sure, it's only 1 or 2 times a game, but, when they're, Mitrovic or their 9 gets isolated on a back post area with either Trent or Robbo, that's an issue, and that happens once or twice a game just by the way that Liverpool play. And I don't believe that, you're going to change style to try and limit that more. I think it's just a matter of, winning those individual battles more consistently, which they typically do. So, I'm really not worried about it. I still expect them to keep, at least 15 cleans or whatever this season. And yeah, I mean, it's still, it's not like they concede a lot of chances. They weren't conceding a lot of chances where I'm like, whoa, what's happening here?
Yeah,
it was the pen, which was insane by Van Dijk, obviously. And then, that one header, which was also, there was a foul in the buildup. I think that wasn't given, which seemed to happen a lot this weekend.
Oh my God, the fucking VAR is back, baby.
Yeah, VAR's back.
But United
you sound more
pen
concerned.
And the fucking, who was it? Saw pen not given? Like,
yeah,
those are both crazy. No, I mean, it's just something, it's sort of more in the back of my head, not like I'm transferring Trent out. Like, I think that's really dumb and bad. But it's just something that's like a trend in the very wrong direction that we need to, like, if it keeps happening, we need to think about it more because, all of them depend on, 18-ish cleans to be the elite assets at the prices that they're at. So, it's pretty important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, probably every fullback in the league loses that header. So, it's like, it is what it is. And then the other team we got questions about before just random questions is Spurs. And Glaze, you said, explain why Kulu's not the best 8 million midfielder. FPL Matt said, what's your take on Kane? Catfink said, if you have Kane already and have Mo and Haaland, would you move him to Darwin or Jesus since Chelsea's a bad fixture? And then just a couple more on the wing backs. I mean, Randy said, with such a good showing from Cesson Royale, are Spurs contenders for Conte Roulette? See any changes with the squad against Chelsea? And then Wilson said, what are you looking for in order to bring Spurs wingbacks like Perisic and Doc in for game week 3? There's a midweek game in game week 5. Are you looking for specific minutes or blah, blah, blah? So let's just do like a Spurs update after their thrashing of Southampton.
Kulusevski obviously is taking the headlines today. 13 points. It's one of those. He's a really good player. Rich was suspended. We know that is, an early sub / rotation issue because if he's going to sub Rich on, he's not taking Kane off. And Son usually goes 90 or very close to it. So, that sub at 65 seems like it's going to just be happening very consistently during the season to me, which I don't like. And, he's fine. He's fine, but having a minutes concern with your 8 million midfielder when you look around at who else is there, to me is problematic. And I also view him a little bit more peripheral, more chance creator than in the box taking high XG shots. Really good goal opportunities, which he did have one and he buried it. Good job by him. Yeah. But I just think that this is going to be more outlier than theme, where he's coming in with double-digit hauls. I mean, last season, he got 5 goals in 1,300 minutes. So, I expect him to probably be around 8 or 9 goals this year. It's good.
Yeah,
he's
the
good.
Thing is, if you do that paired with his, chance creation ability, then that's like an incredible 8 million pick. It's just, I mean, I'm not going to explain why he's not the best 8 million midfielder. He's a really good pick. He was in Tinkers like every other fucking 8 million midfielder was in Tinkers in the team. And he happened to be, basically furthest forward. It was really a diamond with Kane, at the tip and then Son and Kulu like up top sort of.
Front. Yeah.
Is that going to be every game? Like, I don't know. Is at Chelsea a good fixture? No. So I'm still just like, it's a bit of an overreaction to just be like, he's obviously the best 8 million in the game. Because if we do that, then every week anyone scores, we're going to be like, oh, why weren't we all on fucking blah blah blah? Yeah. So, but yeah, he's really good. But
he's good. He's fine. I mean, I don't think like transferring him in is smart right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And then what about the wingbacks? Because for me, I'm looking at we both got rid of Perisic before game week 1.
Yep.
which, you know, he played 20 minutes, got 1 point, so sure. But I immediately, like, on doing that, I wrote down, you know, game week 3, first priority, Perisic. Home Wolves, at Forest, at West Ham, home Fulham. Like, should be fit by then, I assume. But, you know, if he doesn't start again against Chelsea, like, what do we do with that?
It's a mess, dude.
Yeah, it's a mess, right?
I mean, especially because Conte is there saying, like, I let my guys who got us to Champions League last year, you know, go again, and we destroyed them. There's just so many guys, you know, I mean, that is the issue. There's just so many guys. Because, you know, you can easily make that other story of, oh yeah, well, he started Chelsea, then he's not going to start game week 3, and then I'll put set like blah, 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 blah. You know, you need to, I think it doesn't matter that much, like what minutes he does or does not play. It's just, you know, seeing more is the fitness there. And then this is not a player that you put in and out. Like, you just hold him for a really long time.
Yeah.
Because he will not start every game. And he will start some games and score 15 points. You know, you can set your clock to that.
And he'll also sub on sometimes and get goals and assists.
Yes, that's possible. Of course, that's possible. But, you know, I think that's really what you're looking at. It just does then come to the question of, you know, is that good enough compared to some of the other defenders that you can get, you know, when we're looking at some of these other picks, because there's just so many good picks.
Yeah.
So I think that's a cop-out answer. But
No, it's not I was going to sort of back you up and say it's not a cop-out, because the good thing is we don't have to worry about it right now, because we're not bringing them in for Chelsea.
Yeah.
So we just, you know, keep it in the back of our mind. We watch the game, we assess. But yeah, I mean, he's a really weird player, and that's kind of why I made that Jota comparison on the last preseason pod of, like, when Jota first got to Liverpool, and just like any time he starts, I'm like, yeah, 15 points right there for him, right there for the taking. When he subs on, I'm thinking, yeah, goal or assist are there. You know, this could be a 1-pointer like it was against Southampton. Could be, you know, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, there's just so many good, like 4, 5, and 5 defenders, not even talking about the premiums that he's more competing with. So that'll be more what we have to decide. And, you know, we're both on trips. You know, he's home City in game week 3, then at Wolves and at Liverpool. Like, maybe it's trips that goes. Like, that makes sense to me in my head, but I'm not doing it right now anyway, so don't even worry about it.
Yeah. I wanted to also back up to Chelsea for a second. I mean, Chilwell starting was also a really big...
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really big, you know, surprise. Yeah. He's didn't play well at all, but, you know, he wins a pen, right? I mean, your wing back winning a pen is, you know, shows you what he does. When he starts, he just finds points, you know, kind of just like Reece does. And, you know, I think I was like kind of preseason thinking, okay, I don't have to think or worry about this until like game week 4 or something. Like, he's going to be building fitness for the next couple of weeks. But I mean, he's real too. You know, I mean, he's a real option. Like, before we knew he was hurt, it was like, oh yeah, Reece and Chilwell, that's a good double up for 12 million kind of thing, you know? Totally. And that's, to me, still like very true. I mean, the Cucurella signing, I don't think that's like bad for him, because I still think Chilwell's like a better left wing back. It just, if anything, takes some pressure off him. He doesn't stay fit very long. I don't know if that's going to be a concern. But, you know, to me, it's Cucurella is going to just play left-sided center back. And, you know, when Chilwell gets subbed off, which I'm sure he'll do all the time because these 5 subs, you know, he just kind of moves him over at wing back kind of thing. But what are you with me on Chilwell?
Yeah, I mean, if he was fit for game week 1 and like playing all the preseason minutes, I would have really been tight on Chilwell versus Reece. Because to me, that's like goals in open play versus like bonus points almost is like the battle there, where it's like Reece is just such a god on bonus, but like Chilwell has like legit like in box attacking guy things. The thing, you know, Tuch said that he's still not fit. I think the only reason he started is because like Marco say basically was like, go fuck yourself, don't play me, I'm not gonna play. Scumbag.
I'm not coming to the stadium.
Yeah,
guys.
like there's no chance. I'm risking my Barcelona move or whatever the fuck, as if they can pay him. But, you know, so, you know, again, it's similar with Perisic, right? It's like home Spurs, like we're not bringing him in, so it doesn't matter that much. But we want to see fitness. We want him to start. Ideally, like you said, it's Chilwell left wing back and Cucurella left center back against Spurs, so we can feel confident. about those positionings going forward. And then that means, like you said, I mean, I totally agree. It means Reece at wing back more often, Chilwell at wing back more often, and they're both just going to be like incredible.
I mean, their defense is strictly better than it was last year.
You think so?
A 1,000,000%. Kukureya and Koulibaly, besides Tilv, is just better than what they had last year.
Yeah, I guess I consider Koulibaly a pretty big downgrade over Rudiger, but then Kukureya is just such a big upgrade over Aspel.
That's his thing.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess that is true. Yeah, I mean, it's really good. My main concern with this team projecting for the season is their midfield, but they're all fit now, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, the answer is fucking staring him right into the face as German fraud can't see it. Is Gallagher. Just start.
Yeah, I don't really think he fits, but we'll see if he does.
I'm telling you, if we watch him, what he did at West Brom, he was a different player. He can do whatever.
I thought he was a bad player.
I don't know. I think he could do whatever he asks him to do. He can fit in.
The one thing that he's never shown the ability to do is pass. So that's like the main not fitting in thing potentially. But if he was the guy instead of Conte, like against the bus, like making those runs, like I'm a forward, which is more similar to what he did against Palace, then yeah, he's gonna fucking dong his life away. But
this is like, imagine if he started instead of Conte.
That's what I'm saying. Against Everton, yeah. But if he starts instead of Conte against Spurs, I'm like, they're gonna get fucking shredded. I don't like that, you know.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, that's fine. But
so we'll see. But yeah, for now, either way, for a defensive pick, doesn't matter. So, yeah, I mean, very much on the radar. Another Game Week 3 guy. I mean, the more I talk about Game Week 3, I'm like, maybe Game Week 3 is not a bad wild card. Like, maybe, you know, I'm not committing to it by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, if we're Spurs all of a sudden have a really good run, Chelsea all of a sudden have a really good run, you know, Arsenal's amazing run continues or, you know, goes on there, you know, like maybe we'll know a lot more by then to just go for it. But, you know, it's definitely those are the guys I'm thinking about for Game Week 3, not for Game Week 2.
Yeah. Okay. More questions?
Yeah, just other random stuff. Richard, the Forest fan, he said, how hard should we be targeting Forest?
It's like his logo in Discord is
so good.
The crest of the, and then he puts in his name. It's like,
and in the parentheses, the Forest
figured
fan.
It out. Yeah. What was the question?
How hard should we be targeting Forest? Because they just got fucking abused.
They did. I mean, the 11 is a rough bunch of names that they put out there on that field. You know, it's just tough. They're not. I don't know.
Steve Cooper just looks so fucking funny and weird that, like,
it's like a high weasel.
Yeah, I thought he's like a high weasel. That's good. I was like thinking there's a little bit of Buscemi combined with like a Pete Davidson. That's what butthole eyes. That's what I see there that face. And yeah, he's just such a I'm high in high school and really bad at hiding it kind of kid. And it's just like, dude, everyone knows you're fucking stoned. But yeah, I mean, it's probably the best clean sheet fixture in the world right now. I feel like we can say that pretty next to Villa and Bournemouth, I guess. But yeah, I don't know how hard should we be targeting them. Yeah, they're fucking bad. I don't know how hard to target them. You know, how do we answer that question? How hard? What's the scale?
On the scale of hard to the most hard, diamonds. Rock to diamond. Which gemstone is it? I'm not like taking a hit to get Bowen in because they play Forest, I'll tell you that much.
Yes,
but
right.
Yeah, they're bad. You know, there's a few bad teams. We'll see how the cookie crumbles, but certainly, like you said, I think more is the clean sheet than the attack, because you know they did keep him out pretty decently.
Yeah, I mean Newcastle's goals were kind of freak goals.
Yeah.
Like
Hendo's good.
Yeah, Hendo's good, dude. Hendo 7 saves like that. Yeah. That's on the radar a bit. So. Wary Painter said, are we seeing the return of the forwards? Bamf, Tony, Collum, all returning on top of Mitro, Darwin looking good. Also, 4 out of 5 of those are the main men and on pens. Yeah, forwards are back, baby.
Yeah, I mean, Leeds played really well, right? I mean, Wolves were all over the shop, but Leeds still put them to the sword and were very aggressive, you know, getting a lot of turnovers in really good positions and creating a lot of good chances. I mean, Bamford, he kind of had a weird kind of game, I think. He was like a little bit more creative than normal. And I mean, but we have to remember too with Bamford, right? He's not an explosive like fast player, right? He just ticks along.
Yeah,
but yeah,
he's so good at everything. He's the hub of the attack. He's not like yeah.
He's within the first like either assist, goal, or the hockey assist from their goals. Like it's hard if it's an open play goal for that not to be the case. So yeah, he's still certainly a good pick. I mean, Callum, obviously. I mean, if he plays games, he just scores every one of them somehow. And yeah, he's good. Tony, I don't know. I mean, I was really tilted off by that game, obviously, with my 8 goalkeeper combo. I mean, that first half was the least competitive half I've seen in, a lot of games. It was really insane.
So how did Braj get them back? How did Braj get Brentford back in the game? You want to talk to me about that?
Braj sees things differently than us mere mortals.
5 subs. He made 1. It wasn't a good one.
It's just like I could see him sitting there. He's like, oh, okay, like Frank is subbing on all of his attackers. Like I should do that too. Like I'll just do one. I'll take one of my midfielders out when we're completely disassembling them in midfield and put on a forward. This is exactly what we need, and then you get what you deserve on that one.
So that was
Tony.
Bad.
That was bad. That was some type of collapse. I mean, that was concerning because that game looked from literally unlosable. Like it was they were fucking them so hard, dude. Yeah. It was insane how badly they were destroying them. Yeah. And then to draw that game was just out of control. I mean, Tony's like, whatever. I don't know. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. My evaluation on him hasn't really changed, where I don't think you look at Brentford with good fixtures and you're like, okay, time for like Tony to haul. Like he's just not like that. But he'll tick. He'll get his goals. He'll get his pens. Like whatever. Yeah. But I'm with you on Bamford. I thought he looked really good, to be honest. And it's exactly what you said, right? It's like you can just look at 2020 season and even the few minutes he played in the 2021 season. Like his involvement is like why he's good. And the other reason why he's good is because Leeds are a much better attack than where they will finish in the table.
Yeah, I like Bamford more than all these picks.
Me too. I think Bamford is just like a great fucking pick with great fixtures. And, I think he's just going to keep being above 50% involved, which is really insane for an attack that's like as aggressive as Leeds. Yeah. I think you can like very confidently hold Bamford, with their fixtures through like game week 9 or something and feel good about it. So that's pretty valuable.
And he has pens too.
Yep, and main man and on pens.
And having pens on Leeds is not the same thing as having pens on, Brenham, right? I mean, they're in the box a lot, so they should win more pens. So
yeah, like Aronson, Harrison, even Dan James, like guys like that who are just like fast and tricky and whatever. It's like those are the guys who get fouled for pens.
Can't believe you just mentioned Dan. You can't win pens from the bench.
If he subs on, his X-win pens is higher than the average substitute. That's all I'm trying to say there. I mean, Christensen can't buy a fucking pen. Sa comes out of the box, punches him in the face after he heads the ball away. Like, Bamford should have had a fucking double return, And
he could have had more. He could have had 3.
Yeah, he could have had more. So
he could have had a triple return. But that non-pen goal was obviously insane. A lot of good picks.
Yeah, and
Jesus. I mean, we're not even talking about
I know.
Jesus.
That's what I was going to say. Where didn't even mention Jesus?
I mean, he was, probably good for a double return, at least one return. Yeah. And he was just, the thing with Jesus, just watching him in that game, it was Friday. It was like the furthest game away, so we haven't like mentioned it, but he's just everywhere. Like he's just all over the pitch. And, sometimes he's provider, sometimes he's at 6, sometimes he's at the end of things. Like his work rate and like where he is, he's great. He's gonna be good.
And the difference between him and like even like like a Firmino or even a Kane, which is kind of a harsh comp, is that like when he's deep and helps with build up and stuff, like he's still arriving in the box.
Yeah,
like he has the pace and the energy and the fitness to just still get there and still be in the box and still get on the end of stuff. Whereas like, we see Kane often not do that.
Yeah. That's a huge, and that's a huge deal because like we talk about that as a negative for Kane. It's like the negative why it is for Kane is exactly you see Kane drop in and he makes that one line breaking pass to create something, an attacking action, but he does not return to the TV screen. He makes that pass and he just stays there. Where I don't know what the fuck he does, but the camera moves and Kane's not there.
Yeah,
like,
Jesus, Son and Kulu and Perisic, like they're fucking fast.
They run,
then they're countering, they go. They're not going to wait for Kane. But it is a big deal. I mean, it's one of those like difference between watching the game and maybe watching the highlights things that people are even like transferring him out. Like after watching the game, I was like, dude, such a good pick. Oh my God, he's so good. And then like a lot of people are like getting rid of him because he had like one shot and whatever. And I'm just like, no, he was like everything. He was everywhere. So, Great question here from Glenn Denning. Does Stevie G have any idea what he's doing? Unknown.
I can't believe we haven't. We're at like almost an hour. We haven't even mentioned really Villa.
Bailey, Villa, Sitch. What the fuck, dude?
It was when he took this job. I really couldn't come up with a scenario of like how this is going to decrease his value of like in the manager market, right? He's showing us a scenario. It's just been such a long time of sturgid performances with changing personnel and tactics like within game, before the game. It's really out of control, and his squad is good.
Yeah,
it's a good squad.
I feel like
we give him a lot of benefit.
In contention for top 7, like 7th place, basically. They should be in contention for that. And they can't even get a single like half chance against Bournemouth.
They can't get out of their own fucking way. I mean, it's like we gave them a lot of leeway last year with not having the DM situation. And, it's been one game with Kamara there, but it's bad. It's just really bad. And, especially when you get to attack for 90, it was sort of a little bit like, I don't know it was just bad. It was just fucking bad. I don't know. They had a lot of creativity in there, with Buendia, especially sitting on the bench too.
They subbed him on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so what is everyone doing? Like, why is this not functioning? He starts Ings, he benches Walking. It's like, what are you doing? It's
fucking like it should have been training ground stuff. I'm not saying Bournemouth are, going to bend over for them or anything like that, but Bournemouth go up 1-0 in the first minute of the game.
And Parker does of their lives.
Exactly what you'd expect him to do, and he should do. This is not like I'm not talking negatively about Parker at all here. They just park a fucking triple-decker bus and never leave their half again. And like that's like, okay, now the game has changed. Villa need a goal. You have Coutinho, you have Bailey, you sub on Buendia. Like this is what have you been working on if like this isn't it, So yeah, I don't know if he has any idea what he's doing. I don't know what the hell's going on there. It's very bad.
Yeah. McGinn. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know so many things after that performance.
Yeah. It's still just the balance. There's no balance, and he's not committing to something. Like he's still not like.
There were those games that I referenced at the end of last season where they actually like destroyed teams. They like, Burnley and Southampton. There were some others in there where they just had 20 plus shots and like 3 XG. And I was like, yeah, okay. So sometimes they're capable of that. But then you watch this game and I was just like, are they capable of that? Like, how did that even happen? I can't even remember.
Who were those people in that game? Where are those players? Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, it's obviously bad. And they have another good fixture. I mean, Bailey, it's not like really there's anywhere to go from there.
I mean, I'm considering starting Pereira over Bailey.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference really in the fixtures for Villa is, this game week 2 one is at Villa Park. Maybe that does something, but they're going to be a bust. They're going to be faced with 90 of the same exact thing, same exact task to.
So I'm worried about that.
Should be, yeah. No, you should be. You should be.
I have a mil in the bank. I could just do Bailey to Martinelli.
Yeah, I mean it's
kind of staring me in the face.
Yeah, well, the problem with doing that is you probably need to do it like now because Martinelli might price change any day.
Insert price change rant here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that's definitely on my mind. Mushy P said, "Do the opening games of the Big Six change the opinion on the main defender picks?" Not really, right?
They're all great.
Yeah. Yo, my name is Alan too. He said, after one game, what bad fixtures might actually be good and vice versa? So,
which bad fixtures might be good? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Which fixtures that we thought were bad going into the season, we now think might be good. I don't know. I don't think anything's changed. Leicester is still the one that I'm like, the range of possibilities is the widest because they did that first half and then they did that second half. So
that's the thing it's like, is it that simple? Like you just put a couple attackers on and then they just fall apart. Crumble. I mean, it might be.
Yeah, but it's like, so then projecting that to game week 2, I'm like, okay, Arsenal's home, Leicester. What fucking Leicester are we going to see? Because Arteta versus Braj should just be literally nothing happens for 90 minutes. They just pass back and forth in midfield. And it's just Spider-Man memeing and nothing happens and no one gets any shots or does anything ever. But how that's going to play out, I don't know. It could be anything. I could see Arsenal winning 3-0. I could see a 0-0. I could see Leicester scoring easily. So, don't know. That's the one that's the hardest for me. Bear said, taking a step back, what players really surprised you the most by their role, and do you think it's sustainable? And Harry said, which player that isn't in your team impressed you the most from an eye test perspective? And these questions are so hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's really asking us to do, kind of an uncomfortable thing by taking one game and like projecting out this is how it's going to be. And I don't know how like fantasy relevant this is, but I really, really like Trossard at wingback. I mean, that's just his position to me because he doesn't have enough goals to take up one of those very precious attacking positions in him. I mean, who does at Brighton? But just for him and that added dimension to the attack looked so good to me. I loved that him at left wingback.
I want to follow that up with Grob. I mean,
yeah,
anytime he's played, he's been a good fantasy asset. We're talking about Gross, by the way, for new listeners who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But Pascal, he fucking is always good. He's a god on bones. He has a very good long pedigree at this point of getting fantasy points when he plays. I didn't think he'd be nailed, but he played the second furthest forward guy. He played almost like inside forward on the right. He's on pens usually. And their run is, really good. I mean, home Newcastle at West Ham's not great the next two, but then home Leeds at Fulham, home Leicester at Bournemouth is really good. So I think that's a guy that I looked at and interests me. And the other one that I just was like, when I was looking at stats, just really popped to me was JWP. I mean, because, obviously the fixture was bad and he gets like a kind of like a worldy insane goal. But the thing that really popped to me, and you kind of shouted this, I think in one of the preseason pods, but we hadn't actually seen it in action, was just he had 6 touches in the box. And usually I saw that.
0.
I saw that. And I was
he
like,
has 1 if he has a penalty.
Yeah, I was like, that can't be right. Last season, he didn't have one game where he had more than 3. And the season before that, he didn't have one game where he had more than 2 touches in the box. So, the 3 at the back system, and we'll see how quickly Ralph either gets fired or they abandon that. But
it's already like, I didn't like it. So
yeah, okay. So, that this could just all be worthless, like very, very soon. Probably will be. But, if he's doing what we already know he's going to do with the pens and the free kicks and the corners, but adding like he's actually capable of doing something in open play, which is usually not the case with him, then like that is something that I'm very interested in.
Yeah. I want to see a little bit more from Gross because there's still a lot he could do with the formation. I mean, he can also just stop playing Trossard there. Like he could do that tomorrow.
It's
right?
Potter. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Ward-Prowse, I mean, the touches in the box are a serious thing. Once the fixtures change, him playing more as an 8 and less as a 6 just makes him so much better. I mean, if he can add, a few open play returns to what he usually does, then he's almost all of a sudden knocking on like 180, 190.
Yeah, at 6'5".
At 6'5", yeah. So that's a good shout. Definitely a good shout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last question was Fred Neal. He said, how quickly should we get Mitro in?
Hey, good pick. There's so many good picks this year, dude.
There's legitimately like 50 picks.
Yeah. I feel like in this landscape when there are so many good picks. Like, I mean, we kind of saw it this week, right? Like the differences between like, oh, I had a good week to like, oh, I was fine is like you had Martinelli or like you had an extra clean
Kulu,
sheet or you had
Zinchenko.
Yeah, or you know, having these one little thing like we have to hit captain, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big reason why we are kind of more template and we're actually looking at ownership. I never looked at ownership in my life before like this preseason, but like I just want to stay with the pack for now because there's so many good picks. I just don't want to be like really rogue, really differential, hit in Darwin this week, whatever it is, because I'm just, I might just fall really behind because I think they're all good picks. All the template guys are really good picks. Later in the season, we'll see other things develop. We'll know who's good, who's bad, who's players we like, whatever it is, the runs. But like, yeah, for now, I mean, probably best to just be patient, like get the guys that everyone's getting because they're the best guys, roll your transfer if you can and just like, hang with the pack.
Yeah.
Fucking
I think
man.
the biggest thing for me today is just how far we are away from our assessment of Darwin, I think, because one of us is right and one of us is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a big call.
Yeah. I'm sure some people are going to bring him in this week. I'm sure people already fucking have after
more people have
return.
Darwin. More people own Darwin than Luis Diaz.
Is that true?
It's true.
That's wild.
So
yeah, I guess people are
already
transferring
clicking
him
the
in.
buttons.
Yeah. I mean, he has 187,000 transfers in already, so I guess he's going to price rise. But yeah, and that's the for sure thing that we're the most different on right now. But I'm still in the camp with you of like I'm just going to wait. So
yeah.
Let's go to our teams, dude, for the first time.
Okay.
So give me your like preliminary thoughts on your team and your cap, because I think the cap is interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to just say my team because I don't think we did that. We like never do that. But I have both the Leicester fraudulent keepers. God damn it. This is also, I was like sitting there like after they concede and I'm just like questioning my entire existential dread, questioning my life. Like I spend hours and hours and hours of the offseason like I'm gonna get a premium keeper. I'm gonna
great season to get a premium.
Have Ederson in for a good week or two before like last day. Like nope, like get out of here, Ederson. Like give me the worst shit fuck in the game. Like give me the 1 point keeper.
It's okay, dude. A lot of the best managers in the fucking world went with that too, so that's a good sign.
No, and the other thing too, more like after I let that run through and finish playing, is like I'm freeing up this money on the pitch. Yeah, there's going to be like 40-point difference between this combo of Nightmare and like Ederson, but if I can't using all the transfers at hand throughout the course of the season and targeting good fixtures like make up for those points, then I deserve to get a bad rank, So I'm gonna just stick with it.
Right.
So I have that. I have Trent, Robbo, Reece, Cancelo, Trips at the back. I have Mount, Mo, and Neto, and then I have Jesus and Haaland up top. So, yeah, Trips definitely. Well, he was the Perry replacement. Definitely concerned about that. Just medium term with the fixtures that don't look so good. I need to probably commit. Like next week when I have my transfers of like, am I going to just rotate him and Pereira and just leave that alone? Or is that somewhere I'm going to invest like money or a transfer in on? Do I want to upgrade that? What do I want to do at that spot? I'm going to have to figure that out. One of the questions.
I vote rotate Pereira. That's what I'm planning to do, but it's totally a reasonable place to look for sure.
Yeah. And then Mount, previously discussed, concerned about. And Neto, I think he played well. Podence, Wang, like it's not really that good. Like that, those three, it's just not that good. Podence just takes too many touches. He's too lightweight. He's just not good enough to me.
They bought Guedes today.
Yeah, I saw that. That could help. But then it's just, again, right, when I'm watching this game, I'm like, this is clearly this team's getting, outplayed by Leeds. And, they don't have tough fixtures, thank God. But I'm just like, how many goals is this team really going to score? I mean, Neto is probably the class of the three in terms of just overall performance and what he was creating and stuff like that. And he had a couple of decent shots, but and he's 5'5", but we're talking about so many good picks, right? So I don't want to just hold like a pick who's like returning 1 in 4, 1 in 5 when there are all these other really good picks, right? So I need to make a decision on that pretty quickly too, I think, because I think that's another pressure point.
He has the bad game week 3, right?
Yeah.
So... yeah, maybe that's more of like a next week you like double move or triple move, and maybe he's a part of that if he looks bad or something.
Could be. So that's what I'm leaning towards saving. But if I do anything, now I'm starting to think of Darwin as like, well, is this something that I do need to actually, like, what do I need to do Robbo to Darwin? Because like you're saying, if he is going to be getting these underlyings similar to like what Haaland's getting, which that's possible.
It's very possible.
Yeah, it's we're not going to be able to cover Darwin's points with like Robbo.
Yeah,
that doesn't exist. But I'm just saying, like, when you're comparing the two of like which one, is better, right? Even if it is more expensive. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Because then it would be like downgrading Mount would be, that would lead me more towards maybe I don't say, maybe I do the Mount move before I lose price changes and
million. Shit. Yeah, or the 2 million.
The 2 million. Yeah.
What about are you on Mo or Haaland? Cap.
I'm on Haaland, but I'm not convinced by it.
I think it's very hard.
I think it's very, very close. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk more about that on Friday My Life.
Yeah. How's your team looking?
I kind of through the pod have mentioned like my occasional moves. I guess I'll read my team too. I have Ederson, Trips, Dean. So Dean was my Perisic replacement. That worked out really well. Reece, Trent, Cancelo. My midfield is Mo, Diaz, Bailey, and I have Haaland, Jesus up top. Bailey is obviously my biggest concern. Like we knew going into the season that he had 2, maybe 3 acceptable fixtures before the really bad run.
And it turns out he has 0.
Yeah, it turns out the good fixture for Aston Villa doesn't fucking exist.
You have 2. How'd you end up with 3 Villa players in your team?
Wait, 3? Oh, well, Archer's a god. Yeah, Archer's a god. Well, Dean was just a 2 week, literally 2 week replacement guy. So whatever. But yeah, fucking
that's
hell.
That's the thing, though. We are on preseason, all preseason. We didn't have a Villa player in our team until like 2 days before the deadline.
Yeah. Yeah, the Perisic late news, rumors, leaks, whatever was definitely, a kind of a panic move.
Yeah.
But I have a mill in the bank. So Bailey to Martinelli, I think, is like really, really tempting. Leicester, we talked about them a lot. They lose control. They let up good chances. Arsenal are much better attacking team than Brentford. And the other thing that I said also, and worth repeating, like, I know I'm going to want Martinelli for 3 and 4 and maybe 5. He's at Bournemouth, home Fulham in 3-4. So like, why wouldn't I just get him now? Yeah. I don't really see that unless I think I'm going to need that for like a double move to get Darwin in game week 3 or something. Something more drastic and extreme. But, I can just do other stuff to get there.
That's the answer. But the difference is like, because I'm like we're kind of both talking the same way about Martinelli, but my route is getting rid of Mount and yours is getting rid of Bailey. And it's like, you're getting rid of a pick you do not want. And I'm getting rid of a pick who's like, I have no idea if I'm going to want.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it so much louder for you where it's like, what is the downside?
Just do it today.
It's probably better than saving.
I think so, right? The other option is I genuinely think Pereira is like startable. And I just start him at Wolves over Bailey and just, that's fine, and just save my transfer. Next week I can do like Bailey, Diaz, Dean if I want, to like, make more drastic changes, -4 on 3 moves or whatever. That I think that's viable too. That would be probably the better option, in some people's opinions, to just roll it and just start Pereira. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I want Martinelli. It's a player that I know I don't want and a player that I know I'm gonna want. So I probably should just do it. And then the main thing I was thinking between the caps, because as soon as Sunday happened, I just put the cap on Haaland and was like, forget about it. But the main difference I think between Mo and Haaland for this week's cap is that Haaland could play between like 50 and 70 minutes. I could absolutely see that. And City are just up 3-0 and absolutely coasting. Whereas Mo's going to play like 85 plus.
Yeah.
And so that's
But if they're up coasting, then I mean, is he really uninvolved there? Like,
right. That's the other thing, right? Does that mean he just has a brace and you just are like good to go? But yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I'm gonna probably stick with Haaland on it.
Me too.
I just think that the fixture is enough different, and I am going to captain against Palace. I'm gonna not do that anymore because I think that's fucked me many times in the past, and it's not helpful. Many times, yeah. But looking at, I mean, even though we had going to Anfield like us, the difference of fixture and the quality of player on the field is significant, and I kind of am building this story of like, Bournemouth just had like the best thing ever in their lives happen, and they played a non-team, like just showed up, like didn't do anything. They're going in here with nothing, like a total free hit. Like, I don't think they're going to be there. Like, we really need to fight. Like, this is like a home Burnley game to me, where it's like, this is 5-0. Yep. Like I just think that they're going to just run circles around them, and it's going to be like, you are playing Lloyd Kelly and fucking Lewis. Like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, we are going to destroy these. Like, Travers, it's just like, I feel like it's just too much different. And it's also something we said preseason, like before anything. It was like, oh yeah, we want Haaland for game 2 cap. Like, that's why I think I think that's where we should stick, because that was our initial instinct. Like,
I mean, it's sort of it's like the reason I wanted to make this notebook, or one of the many reasons, right? It's like, I wanted to be able on Friday when I make my final move, when I, click the fucking final button, whatever it is, I want to be like, why am I doing something different than I was going to do on Monday? In this case, it's like, why am I doing something different than I was planning on doing for the last 2 weeks?
Right.
And there's no reason. I mean, Haaland looked amazing. City looked amazing. It's the better fixture. There's no reason. And just another thing about Palace is like, they're still like underrated. Like, I still think people just see home Palace and are like, oh my God. But like, legitimately at home, they were the third best defense in the league last season behind City and Liverpool. And away, yeah, they were worse, but they were the 5th best defense in the league away. It's like, they're worse, but they're still like a really solid, tough team to break down. Yeah. And
with good players.
With good players and a good manager, so it's just not the same level.
And it's fucking Nate Klein revenge game.
And it's the Klein derby. Yeah, exactly. Benteke derby too, even though, he's not there anymore.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
But yeah, so I think Haaland, but yeah, we'll go from there. Okay. And then I need to slap a lot of asses. There's a lot of new Patreon signups. So
and wait, before you slap asses, we're gonna do next pod. We're back to doing our My Life behind the Patreon paywall. So that's our weekly pod we do on Thursday ahead of the game, game week deadline. So if you want more of us, then get over to Patreon and help us out. Support us.
Look for that on Thursday nights Eastern time, or Friday mornings, European time, whatever. And it'll be just raw, uncut, unedited, me and Walsh. So let me slap so many asses here. We got John Frederick Strom, Dan Bell, Kenneth Fletcher, Dan Job, Alan O'Leary, Tokemon, Matthews, Ethan Griswold, Nicholas Adamson, Andrew S., Josh Pasterdag, Tom Bartley, Daryl Armstrong, Ryan, David, Gustav Landmark, David Tuckett, Ken Risley, Harrison Tricker, LFC Wardy, Gavin, Blade Lewis, Chris Anderson, Zach, Chris France, Stellan Schweinius, Carl Strand, Mika Latva, FF Jangles, The Overdrive Beats Everything, Nami, Sean, Jack B, Ryan Good, Rick Koikin, got on there, baby, slap the ass.
Love to see that.
Love to see it, baby. These are the times of our lives. Thank you for the signups. And I think that's it, dude.
Yeah. Hope you guys liked it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Game week 1 pod in the books. See you tomorrow. Check us out at fmlfl.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLField Sports page. /FMLField. Subscribe, rate, review. Yeah!